Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast, the world's leading authority on childcare marketing, mindset, expansion, and profitability. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Childcare Genius Marketing. Let Childcare Genius Marketing help you get fully enrolled and fully staffed. Visit childcaregenius.com for more details. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast our hosts, Brian and Carol Duprey.
Hi, welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast.
We're your hosts, Brian and Carol Duprey. Thank you for joining us today. We got a really amazing action-packed episode. But before we get started, wanted to let you know that we only have a few tickets left for our Childcare Genius Live Conference, which is April 14th, 15th, 16th in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's next month. And if you want to go, you got to get your tickets today. Like I said, there's only a handful of tickets left, and this will be closed and sold out probably by next week or so. So I would definitely get those tickets today if you're listening. Go to childcaregenius.com/conference or go to the conference tab on the childcaregenius.com website. Click on the Childcare Genius Live Conference and select Buy Your Tickets Now. It's an amazing experience and one that you're going to be excited for. So today we have an amazing guest and his wife. An amazing couple that own a business called Spanish for Fun. It is a Spanish immersion school, so there's no English being taught in the school at all. The kids speak in Spanish, learn in Spanish, and the teachers all speak Spanish the entire day. It's all they do. Even somebody who comes to the school who doesn't know a lick of Spanish will be speaking Spanish within a couple weeks at this school. It's just absolutely amazing. And it's located in Raleigh, North Carolina, which you wouldn't think of Spanish immersion
Right
in the middle of the Atlantic. So they've got a great story, a great message. We've just gotten to know this couple. We've been coaching now for about a month and a half, and they are doing great. So be prepared and get ready for a great episode.
Let's get Rob and Gaby on the line. Hi, Rob and Gaby. Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast. How are you doing today?
We are doing great.
Great. Thank you so much.
So happy to have you guys on. We're new to knowing about each other. You've joined our coaching program recently, and we were just in Mexico with you guys last month, and really excited about what you guys are doing. Carol and I, or actually it was Monica and I, one of my coaches, visited your schools last month, and we're super impressed with your team, Rob and Gaby. You got an amazing team, and I said I got to get them on the podcast because what you're doing is so different from the traditional Norm Childcare Center, and you guys are killing it in Raleigh, North Carolina area. So I wanted to have you on and just kind of share what you've done. You're growing like crazy, and we just love your program. So before we get into it, we like to give our followers a backstory, and so they get to know Rob and Gaby, right? I mean, you guys are probably new to our audience, and we want them to get to know you. So tell a little bit about yourselves, maybe a little bit about your background and how you got into this crazy childcare business.
Certainly. Well, I honestly had no clues about the childcare industry, business of any sorts, until I met Gaby, who obviously I have met. She's from Peru and was already involved in the childcare industry. So it was really her passion and just drive to really have a want for little kids from very young age to expand their knowledge and their abilities from an early age with the school that she already had in Peru. So that was really where it started for me.
I mean, it seems like all my life I've been invested in early childhood education. I went to college in Peru in the Catholic University for 5 years to be an early childhood educator. And immediately after, I opened this center that is still alive after, I don't want to say how many years, but it's still alive.
30 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's very well known there in Peru. But I met Rob. And when I met Rob, I knew that I was going to leave Lima, Peru, and go to North Carolina. So everything started that way. I was already involved, and he had the business mind. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, Gaby,
Interesting story.
Yeah, when she moved here, she did look for a job, and that ended up being at a Bright Horizons. And we quickly found out that there was a demand for her classroom because she was doing everything as she had always been doing in Peru with Spanish and French songs and of such. And she didn't have a whole lot of English. So that was really what sparked the idea of Spanish for Fun, in the sense of we've got American families wanting their kids to have fun in Spanish. And that was what she was offering. And that was really where it all started. Yeah.
So can you tell us more about why your schools are unique?
Yeah. Well, it's exactly that. What we've brought to the table is it started off as a drop and play in Spanish program that emerged into a preschool program of up to 4 hours of the day. But then the demand kept on pushing for us to create a full day childcare program, all in Spanish immersion. So the kids arrive and they don't hear any English throughout the day. Maybe from their classmates and whatnot, playing around. But in general, all of the songs and the teachings and the instructions and how to wash your hands and what you're eating, everything is all in Spanish.
everything is in Spanish.
Yeah.
And we are
So I
trying to,
visited your schools, and I don't know any Spanish other than maybe 2 or 3 words. And I was so impressed at watching these children interact with the teachers talking in Spanish, because of course it sounded foreign to me, but it was so cool to see these young children communicating with each other, even in Spanish, and learning that when somebody comes there, even at 2 or 3 years old with no Spanish, they have them speaking Spanish within 2 or 3 weeks. There's a transition period, and just seeing how the kids come around. And of course, kids are like sponges, and they're going to learn this stuff pretty darn quickly. And, with our country, I mean, there's so many Spanish-speaking people in America that it was such a good second language to learn. And you, Gaby, of course, you both speak Spanish, obviously, but such a cool idea that you knew that this would be big in the United States. But did you realize how successful you would be at this when you first started?
no. I mean, our first challenge was to try to let the community know about, that we are teaching Spanish more than anything. And they were asking me, why do I want my child to learn, another language? We are okay here in North Carolina. So because they didn't see many Spanish people around, I didn't have anybody to talk to. That probably was one of the reasons, because Rob started talking to me in Spanish, and he learned Spanish, before than me, English. Then we opened the center, and I opened the center with 8 children, or maybe 4. And the next week was 8. 3 weeks later, probably 12. And then 3 months later, they were 40. And I was working part-time in Bright Horizons, part-time in Spanish for Fun, because we were thinking that was going to pick up little by little. But it seems like, it was a need at that point, especially at that point where families that they have one of the parents Hispanic and the other one was American, and they had the need to communicate with grandparents and other relatives in their countries. But then right now we have like 93% of the population is American trying to learn Spanish, for the children trying to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
And studies have shown that children who learn a second language early on in life do better on scholastic testing, do better in schools. So it really helps their brain development. We know that. We teach our kids sign language in our school, but we have dabbled with saying, is a second language a good thing, not to maybe immersion, but to even offer as a part-day program. And seeing how your school did it, if you're out there and you're listening, like, should I put something in this program? Like, well, I'm not a border state. There's not as much Spanish speaking. I have seen this successful in all the way in northern states. I had a client who had a Spanish immersion in Minnesota, which you would think Minnesota, very successful. So you could put this anywhere, and there is a need. All your schools are right at full capacity. So I know you've done great. You've got a good marketing program with it, and the families are very happy. I mean, everybody I talked to and everybody I saw. So you've done an incredible job. That's why I wanted to share you out there. So in line with that, I mean, obviously there's obstacles you face when you start your childcare business. So what are the things that you faced when you started Spanish for Fun many, many moon ago?
Yeah, we've had a series of obstacles. From the beginning, where English wasn't her first language, so she was just trying to learn English at the same time of running a business. So that was definitely one of Gabby's bigger obstacles at the beginning of the whole process, I'm sure.
To answer a phone call in another language, and I truly didn't know how the parents were coming in and registered their children. And I was asking him, I don't know how they do it, because I didn't know exactly what I said, but they believe me. He was like, listen, they want their children learning Spanish, and they know Spanish very well. So that was the point.
That's right. And so once we got past some of those things, I think some of our next obstacles were what we're doing is new as far as the Spanish immersion, and people wanted to kind of understand that world and maybe compete in it. So we did get a lot of people that would kind of come in and then try to take information from us and then go start maybe their own competing business doing the same thing. That was kind of a difficult part for us, dealing with a lot of undermining type of scenarios there. But eventually it proved that they were either mostly not successful or were successful, but it became a non-issue, whereas we kept on growing and our competition wasn't them, but more the bigger schools, more of the national brands that we were competing with now in the local area. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, you've done a good job, so you definitely need to be congratulated for that. I love it. I just love seeing something different, and never worry about people copying you, because they don't have your secret sauce, and Gaby is your secret sauce. So they will never be able to do what you do. So for sure.
That's exactly right. That's why we always had the philosophy of just keep our heads down and do good work, and they'll just either fall off to the side or they'll figure it out themselves. So
anyway, we're truly thankful for any step that we did and how it happened, because right now we are in this position, enjoying life, loving it. I mean, watching our business growing, and the way that we want to do it. So that is really important for us. And I mean, happiness is what is around us. So why not to be thankful for every single step that we had between we start and now?
I love that. Love gratitude.
Can you tell us why you decided to join the Childcare Genius University coaching program?
One of the things was we need a community, because we didn't share our projects. We didn't, we understand that it's people with more knowledge than us in the industry that can help us to resolve some issues that we were having. Small issues, but they were issues. And we want to get to the point that feel really comfortable and know exactly what we were doing is good. So many people talk to us about you guys. And they were talking about Jamaica and Las Vegas and so many other, Mexico. And we want to truly be there and share with this community, what could be the problems or solutions that we have for some of the issues that they are no issues anymore for us. It's not only that, I always believe that to know people is gonna give us somewhat more knowledge. It's always something to learn from everybody. So why not in our community as a childcare centers?
Yeah, I love that. And we appreciate having you, getting to know you. And you're right. When you're starting out this business and you're all by yourself, you don't know what you don't know. And when you hang out with other people, there's so much experience there. And sometimes it's not about making the right decisions, it's about avoiding the wrong decisions. And hearing other people's mistakes that being made help you to avoid them in the future. And the biggest lesson you can learn is learning from the mistakes of other people, because it doesn't cost you anything. And you win by avoiding that. And that's what we try to teach all the mistakes we've made. We've made a lot because we didn't have a coach for the first 25 years. So we didn't know what we were doing wrong until we did it. So we try to get that knowledge on there. Now, a lot of people don't realize, and I'm going to share with you, that you don't actually live in the area your schools are at. So a question that I didn't put forward, but how do you run your business remotely? It's not easy to do from 1,000 miles away. How do you run your business remotely?
No, it's a great question, Brian. What
is the amazing team? It's the amazing team that you are talking about. It took us some time to train the way that we need to, but they are doing excellent.
Exactly.
Excellent. We are so happy to find them.
We found,
each of them.
Yeah, we found that by bringing in the right people to wear the hats that we were wearing before, they do a better job at it than we do. So that really helped us to start to trust the system, in the sense that, if we only think that we're going to do everything better than everybody, then we're not going to get anywhere. So by taking off those hats, training them, really instilling a level of excellence that we really are hoping to get from their production and quality. And the more that you trust that system and that they trust themselves, the more we were able to pull ourselves away. So we've been actually away from the business for 15 years now, in the sense of not living in the same city and just traveling if we need to, or just taking a phone call. But for the last 5 years, we've been in Puerto Rico, 5.5 years, enjoying benefits of the beautiful sun and the ocean over here. But once again, having a CEO in place that she's built up a team to make sure that she's handling everything. And that takes a layer of that responsibility and worry. We get to still drive the train, though.
Yeah, and I love that. And so a lot of our listeners and followers have a hard time letting go, delegating, and they're perfectionists and control freaks, I call them. And I used to be one, so I know what that's like. And Gaby, I know you've dealt with this, and you probably had to put a lot of faith in that man next to you that this would work, and you probably cursed him a little bit along the way. But boy, you got a good life now, and it works out good. And you're right about your team, Rob. You have got a kick butt team there in North Carolina. And when Monica and I got a chance to see them in action, we were super impressed. And now we know what your magic is.
Yeah,
Sure.
we appreciate that. We're very happy. It takes a whole lot of our stresses off of our shoulders, and we still get to have a great lifestyle. It could have been better in the sense that we could be there, we could be doing everything, and we could be reaping a lot more rewards, I'm sure, by wearing those hats. But then we wouldn't be, as stress-free. We wouldn't be spending as much time with the kids.
And one of the things that really help us is to be out of that stress and thinking about how to grow and make the business better. That's truly, how we work from here, because we are always thinking about the business, always thinking to make it better. And having, we have even people that help us with the ideas that Rob has, because he's the thinker. And so I develop those ideas. It takes some effort also, but many of those ideas are the ones that took us to this place. But one of the things I would like to mention is because the question that you just asked was that at one point we were asking money to the bank to grow, and they clearly say no. 1, 2, 3 different times, sometimes more than this. But what the point is that when we talk to them, they say clearly, we think you are the person that is handle everything. And without you, maybe the business is gonna die. So something happened to you, and we're in a big risk. So we came to Puerto Rico.
Well, even before that, the whole point was to just keep on pulling back,
Yep.
and pulling back.
When we came to Puerto Rico, after a few months later, Rob said, who were the ones that tell us that we couldn't handle the business without you? And I gave him the phone number. He called and said, well, we are living in Puerto Rico, so Gaby is not there anymore. Are you willing to give us the money that is? And they say yes. So from now on, because they couldn't believe it, they said that that was going to be really tough. Yeah, and yes, because it's when you are in the industry, you have to wear so many different hats all the time. And we were 4 centers, so I didn't have time to breathe. It's true. But at this point, we received the help that we need. And right now we are in this path of growing that we really like it to see it.
Yeah, what I like best about this is if you were there, you'd be so in the weeds that you would not see the things you need to fix. Mm-hmm. By not being there, you have clarity. And this is why I try to get owners to step back from their business, work from home, don't be right in there, because that clarity time is where the business grows. And when you're in the weeds, you can't even think about expansion because you can barely get through the day without worrying about tomorrow and doing the same exact thing again. So if there's a lesson here, listeners, if you want your business to grow, if you're an owner and you have a team of people, trust them, delegate, and get out of the day-to-day. And that's the only way you're really going to grow, because you can't divide your business and multiply if you're doing everything. It just doesn't work. You don't have enough time in your day. So, you need to divide to multiply, and that's the way to do it. So, all right. So where do you see your business in the future, guys? Where are you headed? What are some of your long-term goals?
Well, we're pretty excited about the future, to be honest with you. We got a lot going on. We are currently starting, we have 3 construction projects that we're planning on. We've got the first one started right now in Durham. Aside from that, we're also acquiring a school over near Charlotte. So we're excited about starting that project and hoping to maybe even acquire another one. So we're definitely got a lot of expansion going between the 3 projects and some acquiring some schools. Very excited about expanding the program towards Charlotte. They've been asking for us to come in that direction for a while, and that'll be a new territory area for us, but definitely with a lot of high hopes and excitement. So we got a lot of, I think just basically we got a lot of hiring and marketing in our future here in the near future.
Well, I love expansion, as you know, and I've loved working with you on this. So, and you and I are a lot alike as far as that visionary mind. So I love working with you, Rob. And awesome. Gaby, well, Carol loves working with you too. So it's a good program. And Carol's learning Spanish. So when we come to visit you in Puerto Rico, Carol's going to be able to have a conversation in Spanish with you.
Well, I don't know about that.
We can practice.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe I'll learn it. Maybe I'll find some time to learn too. All right. So you have a question?
You recently attended our Dynasty Mastermind in Cancun, Mexico in January. What did you get out of that conference?
That was a lot of fun, by the way. We enjoyed that tremendously. It was our first time joining you guys and meeting the gang of the people from the Dynasty level over there. And we truly enjoyed the whole experience because it was different than any of the other conferences that we had been to. And really felt like it was a little more personal in the sense that it wasn't so big that we could sit and talk with anybody that we wanted to chit chat and get to know. And also the exercises that we went through were more insightful and interpersonal, and that helped, define a little bit better, not only about what you're trying to do in your business, but also who you're working with and what kind of stuff is on their mind. And so those were different perspectives that we hadn't experienced in some of the other conferences that we had been to. So we really appreciated that sense. Anything else?
Yeah, to have surround about these amazing people, owners, that they have the same challenges than us, and they have their own way to resolve these issues. It helped us a lot to understand that, because at one point we were thinking that we were the only ones that suffered that much. But it helped us to understand that it's a community there for you, and only that they were offering consistently help. I did this. This is the way that we handle in my school. But you also, I hear also that you can do this. You guys also, we were talking about some things that we want to do in the school. And Brian, you also recommend us to talk to Kate, we knowing all these people and they, the way that they do things, give us confidence, a lot of confidence to do.
Well, it zooms time forward. Like, for us to have interviewed everybody to find out who knew something about something specifically would have taken maybe years, but just having the group small and knowing people, it really helps zoom forward a time gap that maybe you wouldn't ever have covered,
Thank you. Appreciate that. And that's what the high level mastermind we do in January is really because the people in that group are at a different level because they're really in hyper expansion mode, many of them. So, you got a lot of like-minded people. It makes sense to get them all in the same room. And when you have 300 people in a room, it's hard to have that dynamic. So, there's only 55 of us in a room, so you're able to find much better connections and relationships. And it's our favorite thing that we do is just the small groups like that. So we loved having you. And you're only new to us, and you just jumped on a plane and came to Mexico and not know any of us, really. We met there. And we appreciate that. That's a level of commitment. That's an all-in level, and that's what we like people to do. So
yeah, no, it was great. We were happy we could do it.
Oh, I love it.
We love to learn. Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Gaby. Go ahead.
No, we love to learn, and we learn in so many different ways. I couldn't be in the sunset. It was not the sunset, the sunrise time that everybody had together. But I was listening to the people, and they were saying, this is something that I would like to incorporate in my life because it really filled my soul. So all these things make us to understand that we are in the right way because it's how we want to feel also.
Yeah, love that. So you guys spend 24 hours a day for the most part together, as Carol and I do. Because we both work together, and some people are watching this going, I could never work with my spouse all day. They kill each other. We probably felt that way in the beginning too. Carol's like, I don't, I would want it, but Carol would be like, but you figured it out. We figured it out. So what are your secrets together as, working as a couple? What are some secrets?
Well, it was tough in the beginning. It was really tough, but we overcome that. And right now I focus more in the inside operation. He's focused more in growing. So that's how, so Karina, our CEO, for example, she knows, who to call and when to call, because sometimes she need to work with him or she need to work with me in some other areas.
Right. Yeah. If we were on the same tasks all the time, maybe that would be a little bit overwhelming in the sense that she knows education. I don't know education per se, like I wasn't educated as an educator. So it's definitely easier for me to hand those things over. And as far as like, how much can I blow this business up? That's great that she can leave that to me because that lets my mind kind of explore a little bit of what can we do differently to do what we can do. I think the other thing that really makes it successful is having similar ideals. In other words, if I want my customer to have an absolute excellent experience from the time they drive their car into the parking lot with the flowers, with the look of the building, with the smell of the school when they walk in, with the way they're presented, greeted, maybe with a drink. I don't know. All those things. And if she has the same ideals in her mind, then it's really easy for us to instill it and expect it from our staff. But if we had different ideals, then that would be difficult, because a staff might hear one thing from one of us and something from another, but in general, they hear the same thing from both of us when we're talking about our experience, or when we walk into a center, because we're not there every day. We quickly see what's not right. Why is this look like this, or why is this latch a little bit loose? And for them, it's not easy to see those because they're there every day. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you had it to do all over again, what would you do differently?
That's a tough question. I was, you know what, there's two different ways I think this question could be answered. And one is, if I had it all to do over again, in the sense that we started this business from 25 years ago today, with what we know today and today's technologies, would be one thing. But if I went back in time and had to do everything from the exact same time we started, then I think I would do everything exactly the same, because at that time, my knowledge that I have now would have been maybe frustrating, because there weren't investors and private equity and people wanting to jump in and help us build our business. We had to just suck it up and deal with it and survive it and deal with the ups and downs and the roller coasters. So I don't know if I could have done anything different. And I like where we ended up. We have a very stress-free life compared to when it was very stressful at the beginnings, or maybe more than beginnings. But point being, I don't know if I would do anything different if that was the case.
Yeah, we are happy with the way that we understand that we can resolve pretty much anything that is in the way, and be happy after. We probably, of course, we have mistakes, but it's easy right now for us to handle the business because we feel like we pass through everything. So sometimes, I'm having a conversation with my team, and they are saying this is happening. It's because this is coming. So they say, how do you know? And I tell them exactly what happened years before, And they were saying, okay, we are going to be careful with this and that, and the communication have to be fluently. So these things are like, we can handle this better, They learn, we learn, and we combine these things. But pretty much, like I say before, we are thankful for the things and how they happen.
Even if they weren't good, like the bad things, we learned lessons, and they maybe pointed us in a direction we wouldn't have been pointed in alternatively.
That's true.
Yeah, as one of my favorite coaches say, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, and you never lose. Mistakes are lessons learned, and the failures we've had have been the building blocks of our success. And we love that. And we absolutely love you, both of you, and you're just amazing. We want to thank you for taking time to come on to the Childcare Genius podcast, share your wisdom with all of us. Their school's called Spanish for Fun, Raleigh, North Carolina. If you want to check out their website, just if you're in North Carolina, don't dare copy what they do if you're in their area, because I'll find you. Thanks for having it. Go enjoy that. Go enjoy that Puerto Rico weather, and we will see you in Las Vegas next month.
Definitely. We'll see you then. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate
Thank you so much. We appreciate this time with us. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Wow, what a great interview.
Really good.
They are dynamic. He's got such a business mind. When we had dinner with them in Mexico, we got to know them a little bit. And she's got such a heart for teaching kids. And he's got this business mind that's incredible. And sort of like Carol and I, the same thing. Carol's a great business mind too, but her heart was in the beginning of the children, and mine was just all about expansion. Man, I don't have patience to sit with the children, but she does. Probably less now that you're a little older. probably less
Definitely.
patience, but you were great with the kids early
And
on.
very unique that they're in Puerto Rico
Yes, no
and their
kidding.
schools are in North
They're
Carolina.
in Puerto Rico and their schools are in North Carolina. It goes to show you you can do that. You can get away, you could move, and your business can run without you remotely if you have the right team of people in
Right.
place. So if you want to learn more how to run your business like that, if you want to be a remote owner, I have helped coach numerous people on how to live a great life by being remote and letting your business run without you. I've got several people doing it right now, and I've helped probably a dozen people to be able to transition either to working from another state or location, and I've helped probably 100 people to be able to work from home and not be married to their business. So if that's something you want to do, why not get on a call with me and I could talk and walk you through that. Just go to my website, childcaregenius.com. Under the coaching tab, it's like a free coaching call. Get on the calendar with me, get on my calendar, and I will show you how to live your best life by letting your team run your business instead of you doing it. Get your life back and totally change that. So this concludes this episode of the Childcare Genius podcast. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life to join us. Don't forget to get those tickets to the Childcare Genius Live Conference.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode of the Childcare Genius podcast. And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Childcare Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.